Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dan Gazaway. I'm your mental performance coach. Today I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to talk about grit and what it takes to establish long-term success in your sport, or actually anything that you want to be great at. So I'm going to start off by asking you something. Why do you think some athletes make it further than others? Have you ever contemplated that? Okay, so here's one thing. They're just as talented. Some people are just as talented. They tend to fall off. It's not always talent. It's not always luck. It's something psychologist Angela Duckworth calls grit. She wrote an entire book about it. But think about the athletes like Tom Brady, for example. He wasn't the most talented quarterback coming out of college. He was drafted late. He was overlooked. He was doubted. But year after year, decade after decade, he showed up. He became a great leader. Or take Kobe Bryant, actually. Known for his Mamba mentality. He wasn't just intense, he was disciplined. I talk about Kobe in other videos, right? His early morning workouts, 3 workouts a day. His first one began at 4 a.m. The late nights, the discipline for years, added up, stacked up, and he became a legend. So Kobe didn't just sprint for 30 days, right? He didn't just have one season of discipline. That wasn't it at all. He worked on his craft multiple times a day for decades. That is grit. So here's what Angela Duckworth discovered when she wrote her book. She did all this research. The most successful people aren't the most intense, okay? They're the most consistent over long periods of time. So what do we learn from that? Well, grit is not a sprint, it's an ultra marathon. So today I'm going to give you 3 keys to building grit as an athlete, actually. And you can use this in any other area of your life. But number 1, discipline beats motivation every single time. Because again, anybody can grind for 30 days, right? That's easy. But can you grind for 5 years? Can you work for 10 years? What about 20 years? That's where separation happens, right? Motivation comes and goes. We can't wait to do anything before we're motivated, right? But discipline shows up anyway. So number 2, fall in love with small, individual, or invisible progress. So in the beginning, what you're doing, it may feel like nothing is happening. Nothing's going your way. You're putting in the work. You're grinding every day. You're not losing the weight that you want, right? The results are small. But what you don't see is the compounding effect, okay? Darren Hardy writes a book about the compound effect. But one day that small progress becomes massive change. Tip number 3 for building grit is keep the promises that you make to yourself. Now this might sound simple, but I think that's where confidence is built. It's not built on hype. It's built by proof. So every time you finish a workout, every time you show up when you said that you would, you're adding a coin in your confidence bank, for example. You're building trust with yourself. And that, of course, leads to increased confidence. In fact, I feel like that's the fastest way to build confidence. So in closing, remember this. Anybody can start. Very few stay consistent long enough to see the breakthrough. So the question is, are you intense for a moment? Or are you disciplined for a lifetime? Because grit is truly what separates those who wish for those who actually become. So if this message hit home, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this actually with an athlete who needs to hear this today. And if you're ready to train your mindset with the same intensity as your body, visit dangazaway.com and let's get to work. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again next time.